Good morning, I
Morning.
guess.
That's catchy.
Yeah, it's West Coast time. We're morning here. Hi, Quip.
Hello, Allison. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Did you have a very Merry Christmas? Get lots of fun gifts, toys, art
I,
stuff.
like I don't normally do this sort of thing, but
Okay.
I did get one sort of big ticket item.
Ooh. Well, let
Collection
me move my
expert.
mic closer. It's so far away. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
So that was sort of
Sounds
my
good.
big ticket item. And then you're when you get old, you actually get excited for the underwear and the socks portion of the day. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and then we had I made a ham, and cheesy grits, um, properly like you do in the South with a hunk of Velveeta. Um,
Okay. I was gonna
and
say
then
you're a grit then. Clearly, a girl raised in the South. The
oh yeah, yeah, no,
Okay, there you go.
Texas and Louisiana is so southern. I'm related to myself, and so yeah, we did grits, and then I did a Watergate salad again because pistachio pudding, maraschino cherries, walnuts, crushed pineapple, Cool Whip, and mini marshmallows are delightful. So
Very nice. Yes, those all sound wonderful. And that is a good Midwestern salad.
yeah, well, like Midwestern, but also like my grandmother was a working mom in the
Mhm.
50s and 60s. So if it was on the back of the box of any item that could save her 30 minutes at the end of her workday so she could feed her
Yeah,
four kids and her husband, she would do it. So yeah.
that makes
Um,
perfect sense. And those recipes then turned into family secrets. It's like you got this off the back of the box,
yeah.
quite literally.
And people
But
act like don't just give it to I still have people. She's been gone for about 3 years. And Thanksgiving I still have people contacting me like, do you have your grandmother's chicken enchilada? I'm like, you mean the back of the box white lady chicken enchiladas? Yeah, I got them. So
you
yeah.
can't tell all the secrets.
Well, it's just like I've given the same old people the same recipe for like 10 years. Even before she was dead, like they would be like, I don't want to bother your grandmother, so you're contacting me in Oregon. Okay, okay.
Fair enough. Yep.
Did you guys have a good feast?
We did ham, turkey. I did mashed potatoes. I made my specialty is cheesecake. Like
Ooh, like
I
a
do all
real one.
kinds of different cheesecake from scratch. And I made this year to make it a little easier for the bake to not have to do a water bath or anything. I made cheesecake bites, like little cupcakes
Ooh,
or cheese
yeah,
cupcakes is fun to say. Some of them had mint Oreos in the bottom as the crust, where you just drop it
okay,
in the paper before you fill it
yeah,
with cheesecake filling. And then others just had just a shortbread cookie as the crust. Those were
nice.
really tasty, delectable.
You can never go
Had
wrong with shortbread.
absolutely had a nice time with family. Got some good swag. Yeah, it was good. It was really
Nice.
good. And then we
Uh,
watched Stranger Things. Have you watched Stranger Things?
I've watched uh, a little bit of it, and of
Okay.
course, I've seen discourse happening, and
Yeah.
I forgot that I'm not supposed to comment on the threads of people on threads that I don't know, and probably call them homophobes. But whatever. It's Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some criticisms, some are more valid than others.
Yeah, right.
Um
I'm just
so
gonna say there's never a criticism that I don't want gay people on my TV that I'm ever going to consider a valid
ooh,
criticism. So
yeah. Yeah.
that one is always going to be like yeah. So that one I
Yeah.
call the rest of it like it's fine. I keep the rest of it to myself, but I'm gonna call that shit out. So
No, and that is a fair call out. It's people are people. They exist, whether you agree with them or not. They are people, and they have friends and family who are supportive and who are loving. And if that grinds your gears, then take a long walk off a shore pier.
exactly, exactly. I hope you end up in the upside down with Vecna and a Demogorgon,
Yeah, yeah.
and you
No
have to
need to be
listen.
ugly about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I hope you get diarrhea while you're stuck in traffic bumper to bumper, and you don't get home in time, and you poop yourself. And by the time you get home, it's dried, but it's also leaked out into your car. So the smell is always there, no matter how much you clean it. And then in 10 years, you sell your car. And when the person who buys it goes, why does it smell like poop in here? And then you realize you just went nose dead to it. That's what I wish for those people.
Very specific.
Yeah.
And on brand. So there you go.
You have to be really specific when you curse people. Otherwise, you end up with like, you know,
That's
Kim
true.
Cattrall showing up at your house. Like, you know, that's not what I meant when I said old wench. Anyway.
All
I'm sure
good.
we should say hello to the chat, and
We should.
some of my members are here, so we have to do the extra specialness. Have you witnessed the horror of we just lost Andrew Gades.
Oh no.
So anyway, hello Derek, who is a channel member, and you know how that goes.
Bring out the off. Bring out the off. Bring out the off.
Enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Gal Gadot. All right. Anyway, good morning, Derek. We're only going to do it the one time today because we're a little late because we're on Geek Dad Life J-Light Savings Time.
Yeah, that's on me.
Sorry, guys. No, it's on Jay. It's always on Jay. Hello, Andrew. Speaking of, hello, Mint with Card. You are also a member, but we're only because we're late. We're going to do it the one time. I know, right? Quip is in daywear.
Yeah, just
Contempo
chilling right now.
This is Contempo Casual. Hello, CJ, also a channel member. Oh, and Kenzo's Creations, also a channel member, who is part of the reason we bring out the olives. All right, we are caught up. So thank you. Oh, really quick. Exactly. It's not, this is out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I'm just
Derek
glad we don't
Hoover
have-
saying, let's get a good look at that shirt. It is Marv from Home Alone. So yeah, he's electrocuted. It's kind of Christmassy. It's on brand.
I thought it
for
was
Colin.
like Iron Maiden or something.
Nope, it is. So it's kind of in that style, right? Toy Snobs does some cool kind of like mashups.
Got it.
And so this is a shirt from Toy Snobs that we're a Home Alone family. So it's like, yeah, I'm a really big fan of it. So yeah, copped it.
There we go. I'm not wearing a cool shirt. I just have a sweater. Sorry, Derek. An outshine Quip. If you outshine Quip, you're going to be stuck in your car for hours, bumper to bumper. So really quick, we are doing some Muppets, and I picked a couple different pages because I couldn't decide because you know how that goes. And there's one with Kermit and little Kermit with a little chicken.
Very nice.
There's the family being all happy. Death is coming. I mean, the Ghost of Christmas, hopefully soon, for old rich geezers who are keeping the people down. We can wish for that. But I decided I would go with this.
Okay, that's a nice one. That is a
my
good
mood is
Piggy,
like a little
Kermit.
bit of all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their little frog baby. I feel like I don't understand the like genetics of frog pig like the cross pollination of it when the babies, all the boys are frogs and all the girls are pigs.
Yeah, that's probably the simplest thing to do. Otherwise it could get real weird. So
yeah, it's just that, you know, it doesn't match up with the 1 year of biology I had in high school. So
fair enough.
Mrs. Harrison didn't cover that when we had to do the leaves and dissect the pig. Here's where they make the frog babies.
You know, I didn't even think about that, about how in biology in high school, like you dissect a fetal pig. Oh, well, a lot of places will do that.
Yeah.
Or a frog, like depending on what year into the science you are. And so, yeah, that kind of makes me a little sad.
It was funny. We had I wasn't thrilled with it. I had a pet pig at the time, so it was extra weird.
Yeah, that's good.
But, you know, whatever. It was that or It's weird because we had the one girl in class. She was like, "I can't dissect a baby pig. It's against my religion," and I was very confused by that because if you had any idea what her weekend activities were, you would have thought she was a godless hussy. So,
Strumpet.
and now that she's been to prison 3 or 4 times for meth, I'm still confused as to what religion it was that kept her from dissecting a fetal baby pig. I mean, just say like you don't want to do it because it's gross. Like that, I could respect, but
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And if she's watching it, why is your ankle monitor off? Every so often, people from high school will find me on here and send me a message, and I'm just like, no.
Hey,
I
we're
don't
friends. Remember
I
us?
don't remember
Yeah.
you. It's been decades. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, did you do anything else? Like, I know we talked about what you ate. Have you gone any place?
I went last weekend. I went the weekend before Christmas. I went to Portland for all the my company
Mhm.
work dinner was up there. And then my good friend. It's a big reason why I actually am on the internet doing shit because she was like, "You should do it." I don't understand it. You should do it. And she's super arty. Like she's a real artist. And she's been encouraging me for years to get back into art. So
Okay,
during
that's
the
good.
pandemic, when I got the crazy idea to do this, I'm like, "Does this sound too weird?" She's like, "No, do it. You'll love it." And here we are. So
There you go.
yeah. So that it was good, and then it was hard to not shop while I was up there, but it was just like I don't really need anything. I got
Okay.
the one party Angela from Dr. Tongues in Portland because it was a good price, and I'm like, I wanted one of these back in the day, and if I'm going to give Todd money, it needs to not count, and nothing counts less than buying it from a vintage toy store.
Very true. Very true. If you get it on the aftermarket, there have been a couple of toys or things that I want to get. And it's like, well, certain stores we're boycotting at the moment just
Yeah,
based on principle, trying to get out of that blind consumerism anyway. So it's been a good wake up call.
yeah, it's
And
been hard, but you got to do what you got to do.
particularly some giants that just out of convenience, it's hard to avoid them at all.
Yeah.
But you do what you can. So,
Yeah.
but the aftermarket has been my friend, has been very helpful right now. And then also just sometimes thinking, you know what, I don't need that thing.
Yeah.
When you find out you can live without it, you go along not thinking about it.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
fine.
am getting started here. I did want to point out I need to actually open the box of crayons
Oh,
in order to use
cool.
them. It's not very effective to use crayons and color pencils mint in box. So
No, it's really not. You do have to open those.
So I did buy a brand new set too, just to make sure I had some nice ones
What
because I had some
kind?
old ones.
What
Just
did you?
Crayola.
Just Crayola?
Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
gonna get, I have to say it carefully so you don't hear the southern. If you're going to get Crayola, that's the best kind of crayons that you can get.
Oh, you did. Are you a crown person?
Yeah, that's one of the words where it's like no matter how hard you work at getting rid of your southern accent,
Yeah,
you can't avoid it without, and it's really odd. Like of all the words,
yeah.
yeah,
That's fair.
crayons.
Andrew, Uber Eats just delivered my mint and box lunch. If only I
Oh,
wasn't open.
oh, hello, Alex. Alex is a member. Alex, I
Hey.
think you missed it, but because we were late, we're not going to bring out the olives and enough champagne to fill the Nile every time. It's funny, you sound, when I do Gal Gadot doing that line, I sound a little bit like Steve Martin when he was doing the wild and crazy guy thing. So,
Wild the crazy guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gal Gadot, you could do a good Steve Martin, I bet, if she's
probably.
watching this. So, allegedly, she was sending cease and desist to people making fun of her on the internet. And if
That
that's
is.
true, I love that for her.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you can, because some people do get kind of out of pocket with their
A
comments,
little
right?
bit,
I
yeah.
mean, If you're
Sometimes.
gonna be on the internet, you need to know how to laugh at yourself and understand that sometimes there are well, not just sometimes, the trolls will come out wherever people are having fun. There is a miserable person who has made it their life's goal to ruin
Oh
others
yeah.
people's fun. So all you can really do is just make cool stuff that you enjoy, that you are proud of, that your friend circle is all about, and that's why there's a block button,
Yeah.
right? You might be able to fire off a couple of colorful comments and even, pin it to the top if you've got the energy. It just depends on what type of time you're on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know me personally, it's just I keep it pushing. I don't have time for miserable people to live rent free in my head. So
It's true. And there are a lot of them on YouTube.
absolutely.
I got like I think they were trying to be mean, but they were so poor. Everything was so poorly spelled. It was
You
like
felt bad for them.
I
Oh,
felt
sweetie.
really bad for them, and they also tried to do it through an anonymous account, but forget that the way that YouTube, since the switchover, where like the way the names display, if you
Yeah,
haven't changed like things
your
on your
handle.
main account,
Yeah.
the little circle without a picture in it will actually have your initials.
Hmm.
So I know who left the comment. So I just went and hid the comment, and then I sent him a message. I was like, "Hi, how you been? Like it's been forever. If you haven't checked out my video, you should go check it out. It's really good." And he was like, okay." I'm like, bitch.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta be
it's
smarter than that. Boomers on the fucking internet. There's my F bomb for the day.
yeah, it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Some people you do need to address that on, right? I've
Yeah,
had some conversations depending on, to your point earlier, how out of pocket a comment is.
yeah, exactly. Like I overlook most stuff.
Yeah.
Life is too short, but every so often, especially when it's somebody I actually know, I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't think so. I'm gonna let you know that I know, but I'm not gonna tell you blankly I know so you can sweat it out.
Nothing wrong with that.
So you picked Muppets. That's
I
why we're
did pick
doing Muppets.
Muppets.
So I'm gonna assume that you have more than just the general love of Muppets some people have.
So Muppets, it's a fun Christmassy time thing. I mean, at one, you can do Muppets anytime, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know. I was just in kind of a Muppets Christmas mood, and then when you shared some of the options, I went with Muppet Babies just because it's been a while since I went
Yeah.
through some of the just well, it's been a while since I've seen the show,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, it was just a fun thing that I remember and that always appreciated from my childhood. As
Well,
far
I'm
as
not
a show that had a diverse group, right? A lot of what Jim Henson was putting out. I mean,
yeah,
granted, these are anthropomorphic, like animals or
right.
Muppets, so to speak, but just because they didn't necessarily look like me, as a kid, you could still identify with them, right? As
That was
far as
pretty relatable.
personalities really shining
Mm.
through and just teaching you to be a decent person. There are some people that clearly didn't grow up on Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers, and then if they did, it's like, were you paying attention?
It's the same thing with like He-Man and G.I. Joe when those
Yeah.
fans are complete bags of shit. It's like, did you miss the and now you know. There was never a and now you know at the end of G.I. Joe that was like, if you trash everybody that likes The Last Jedi, you'll be a better person. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. No, that never happened, guys.
Yeah, and that's even why. So I know, we're working on, or I'm working on something right now, like a side project that Brandon Gash approached me about, and we're doing our first live stream later today. So that'll
Nice.
be fun. I need to get the images together and everything. It's going to be through Geek Dad Life 2 for the time
Okay.
being, but we do have our own channel that we're creating called Blurred
Okay.
Alert. So Brandon Gash, who is known for his wonderful and great um, toy sculpts and a lot
Yeah.
of the art that he puts up, like on IG and just some toy concepts, and then of course real life work. on the Mondo Donatello. He was involved even with the Super 7 Cat Slayer. He was on that project. So he's done a lot of cool things across different companies, Nacelle, Cowboys, and Mumesa. We streamed together on Brick not too long ago.
Yeah.
That was facilitated by Sebastian Gomez, who's also going to be a part of the project. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
But we're exploring what it is to be a blurred, right?
Yeah.
In a nerd space, whether you're talking toys or we're talking movies
And
or
for the people who don't know what's a blurred.
oh, a black nerd. It is a portmanteau of a black nerd. And so another interesting thing, though, why I'm really excited about Sebastian Gomez being a part of the conversation and a part of the streams and pods is he is not a blurred. And but it's important to just have different perspectives. One, you don't have to be a black nerd in order to listen, value, understand, or appreciate the perspective of a black nerd. So I think it's important for him to be a part of the show, even bouncing different ideas off of Natalie Portmanteau. That's funny, Derek. But bouncing different concepts, like as Brandon and I share our experiences as a blurred, Sebastian's got his own unique experience coming from growing up in Chile and learning about some American nostalgic or American nostalgia period or retro properties like through proxy or by proxy, and then even moving to the States. And he even shared with us a little bit about like borrowed nostalgia sometimes. But then some things we did export culturally, like a Goofy movie, which is what Sebastian Gomez is known as, or is known for the Goofy movie work that he did with Mondo, those concepts that he created that they're now turning into a squads. So but I say all that to say that we're going through a couple of different concepts where, and this is bringing it full circle back to the Muppets, where we're not just talking about, clear black nerds like in media. A blurred made X-Men 97, what it is, exactly, Andrew Gady's Toys. Talking about how... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I assume at some point you guys will touch upon Dwayne McDuffie, right? From
What's
the comic
McDuffie?
book.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Huge black creator who was part of Justice League, the Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited. Okay. I remember correctly, he created Static Shock. Like if I'm remembering correctly, he is no longer with us. But
he created heroes like Icon and
huge blurred. So
absolutely.
And really at a time where I think it was not like I remember, because I'm old school DC Comics, since the late 70s. And I it was Trevor Von Eden, the artist, and Dennis Cowens. And that was, as far as I knew growing up, those were the only two black creators I was aware of growing up until Dwayne McDuffie came along and sort of said, "Hold my beer, you guys. I'm going to knock some doors off and create some really kick-ass comics." So anyway, long story.
Definitely exploring all kinds of concepts and not just talking about, black creators or black people or blurred, so to speak, in our portrayal in the media, like with your Steve Urkels or your Carlton things, but also one of the fun areas that I'm excited for is black coded cartoon characters. Right. And so bringing it back to Muppets, where one of my favorite characters growing up was Rolf. He's a dog, right? He's brown. He's not a black person, so to speak. But with being a jazz pianist and very often kind of being the very logical, level-headed character, having conversations like that, or how a Goofy movie is very popular in black culture and it's very black coded. I'm trying to think of some other, Dakota Dude and Cowboys of Moo Mesa, and even having some conversations about how cowboys in the West were black, despite the controversy that was around Will Smith being in Wild Wild West and a black sheriff. Why not? It worked in Blazing Saddles, right?
Exactly. I think of all the things you could focus on with the Wild Wild West movie, a black sheriff is not even on the list of crimes that movie committed, guys. So we're
There
gonna
was a
be
robot spider.
focused on bad
Yeah.
movies. Focus on the actual badness and not the racism that you're trying to perpetuate, peeps.
Exactly. So that goes to, as you mentioned earlier, criticism of Star Wars and even how. So even as so kind of going back to Stranger Things, because Stranger Things is one of the first topic that we're going to be discussing tonight, and primarily it's funny. So part of how this really came about and how Stranger Things is the first episode of Blurred Alert that we're going to be talking about or streaming is, one, it's pertinent, but two, we were both really upset with Lucas's hairline in season 5, part 1, and so that has been a topic of discussion. And I mean, even right now, I usually shave it up, clean it up, and everything, right? So even right now, my hairline is a little like devoted to Lucas. It's not great, but just talking about that, and specifically, not to go into details and no spoilers, of course, but some of the stuff they did with Erica in season 5, part 1, I feel like they missed the point of why people like Erica as a character. And so looking forward to even having that conversation. Then, of course, as a lot of people are asking, where are Lucas's parents and Lucas and Erica's parents, and then where's Dustin's mom?
Right.
You know, just kind of like, so during a military occupation, on the heels of just last year, you were literally at that town hall meeting when the town formed a lynch mob to hunt down your son and his friends. But yet he's still somehow able to just go out at night, and they have no idea where he is. Erica knocking on her teacher's door at 5 a.m. with a strange man, Murray, has Erica met Murray before this season? I don't know. It's crazy.
But I mean, like, overall comment, it's not very black mom coded at all, because after
so talking about that,
I don't know any of my friends growing up, none of their black yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. I was just like, people are going to understand my friends were black, but because I didn't refer to them as my black friend. Anyway, sorry. I'm just like trying to do the math in my head. Like, people aren't understand my white friends had mammies. Like, that was what I was trying to none of my friends growing up, none of their black moms would have, like the policing of behavior. That my black there it is. There we go. My black friends. I feel like in this situation it's acceptable. The policing their moms often did to play into, like, we have to be respectable, like
we have to be mindful. You're not going to get the same grace that your friends get in a lot of situations. The police are going to look at you differently. Yeah.
And again, I get it's a fictional show they're trying to create, but I sort of, and not from the white perspective on that, but just witnessing it growing up, like, I wonder at times when and I don't want to go too deep in this, if this is part of the conversation you guys will have tonight. I wonder sometimes, though, when we do these retro shows that are set in the past and they present it that way, how much erasure that creates to the actual experience. And if that plays into the well, I don't see racist. We weren't racist when I grew up.
It was never a problem because we didn't talk about it. It was a problem. They just didn't talk to you about it.
So I mean, like that. That's where my brain goes with it, because my dear sweet late uncle who passed from AIDS in like 1990. There's been a lot of erasure of sort of the queer culture of New York and the United States in general, and part of it is we lost that whole generation of men. A lot of black men as well. So that's something I think about quite a lot as I age, as we get to a point where it's like me, my brother, my dad, and 2 of his childhood friends who actually still have valid, active memories of my uncle. But once we're gone in the next 20 to 30 years, he's gone, right? And a
Yeah.
big part of that is sort of that erasure. So I wonder how that impact, 30, 40 years from now, when all the kids of the 80s who do remember what it was like during the Stranger Things,
Hmm.
what sort of damage it does long term. Anyway, it's sort of a
No,
big
that's
comment
that's
where you were probably going, but
no, that's very poignant. It's very true, and that's even part of Blurred Alert. It's not just, hey, okay, it's an alert where we're talking about, black nerds and everything, but things we're also exploring to try and make sure that as much as we want our perspectives to be shared and heard, we're also looking to have guests on who can share things that maybe we've overlooked, maybe that we
right,
haven't personally experienced. And so exactly what you're describing it's very pertinent to just empathize and sympathize and understand how media portrays different things. And no. So one, I appreciate you sharing that story about your uncle. It is very important to remember people and to not undermine the battles that people in the past have fought, right?
yeah,
I think about how even how we take so much for granted,
right,
um, that we've just always been allowed to do. Well, it's just always been that way. Even me growing up and listening to some of the things that like my parents would say when I would get those speeches, right, that you were talking about being
yeah,
heavily policed and you can't do this. And we've always had the conversation of, as a black man in America, you got to do twice as much to get
yeah,
half as far, and you're not. And I used to roll my eyes at those. And then, of course, you keep living, and it's like, okay, this is what my parents were trying
right,
to prepare you for. Still, at some part of you still does internalize that, and you understand where it's coming from. It's coming from a place of my dad being in the military and experiencing firsthand racism, even with peers. The
right,
crazy thing about the military are different things that we don't learn about. So, my wife was actually listening to a podcast about World War II
yeah,
and the interesting component of American troops, like the U.S. military, trying to impose Jim Crow laws while they were overseas in Europe,
yeah,
and how the Europeans were like, nah, we're cool. These black GIs, like, we like hanging out with them. We're not going to be racist to them just because you want us to be
right,
America. And there was a literal gunfight between white U.S. troops and black U.S. troops in England, I want to say, or in Europe.
right,
I forget exactly the town and everything. And that's wild. We don't learn about that. We don't hear about that. We hear, well, we were just fighting the Nazis because the Nazis were the bad guys, right?
right,
And then it's like, there were still some bad guys. Like, we never talk about how there was a National Socialist Party in the United States on
right.
American soil. We don't learn about that component. We learn the Nazis were over there, Germany bad, America save everyone. It's like,
Or
well, it's more complicated than that.
a lot of the
So,
eugenics policies of that party were taken from U.S. government policies against the indigenous people.
mhm. So having conversations though, and
Yeah,
it's good
yeah.
to just acknowledge it. Like, I like learning, and there's so much
Well,
interesting information that's out there.
and that,
And
I think you mentioned, obviously Urkel is in the room with us a little bit.
yeah, no,
But
absolutely.
also, like again, I was in college. I think, well, that show started like it. Urkel didn't become like a thing until I was in college, and of
Okay.
course, I was in college with, I gravitated toward, the people, some people don't want you to hang out with in college. So the conversations that I was hearing was like, Urkel is bad because he's like a modern day minstrel or whatever to like
Oh yeah, I could see
make
what you're
fun
saying there.
of,
Yeah.
like, so it was always sort of this, but and that was really my experience, like, because I wasn't
Mhm.
at home watching Family Matters
And in
that far
college,
into
I can
it.
absolutely see how that would be a part
I
of
feel a lot more
the
mild
conversation.
about it now because
Yeah.
now that I'm older and I've met people who aren't, but again, I was, in the Deep South taking one of the first, for one of the first racial studies classes like offered,
Oh,
and
that's
that's right
cool.
away I took it. I was just like,
Yeah.
they've never offered this before. I'm gonna get in there before they stop it because
Yeah.
2 years ago one of my first opportunities to vote was to prevent David Dukes from becoming governor of Louisiana. So
Okay.
That's a great first voting because like you really get the stakes in that situation. So for me, voting has always
Hmm.
been big stakes because that was the first time. So you know, like we had, so it was really, really eye opening, and I was for many years a white savior. It's really hard, I think, to not go through that phase though. Whenever you have your eyes open for the first time about things,
Yeah, that's fair.
and you just, I think the rule of thumb for that I say to the young whites, don't do it, or you know, like that's white people stuff. So when you're with the other white people, be the biggest savior you need to be, but um, you know,
I mean, it's
you know,
important to learn how to speak up
yeah,
for other people while also giving other people the space to um, excel and to be their own heroes as well, giving them the platform and the opportunity and the influence. Like I think of not taking, the term ally lightly in any way, shape, or
yeah,
form, but if you see somebody, like we've all been in meetings where, or if you're during our day jobs, right, where
yeah,
a woman makes a recommendation completely glossed over. 5 minutes later, a man makes the same recommendation. Great
right,
idea, Chad. And you're just like, ew.
yeah,
So in those situations, learning to speak up and say, you know what, I agree. That is a great idea. It was a great idea 30 minutes ago when Allison
right,
brought it up, and we really
right,
should have explored it. So, Allison, what were your ideas behind it, right? Like being that person in the room who can pivot instead of just kind of sitting there dormant, observing what's going on and hoping it
right,
doesn't happen to you, right?
right,
So,
exactly. You know, and again, it's a you have to learn how to do it. You
yeah,
have
there's an
to,
art to it. And sometimes, to your point though, sometimes it's okay, pick and choose your battles.
mm,
You honestly know, because it's your idea, what the ins and outs and what some pitfalls might be,
yeah,
even if they're not giving you credit. Don't argue and don't like just kind of like cast your pearls to swine, and give them the way to avoid the trouble, especially if they're not giving you the credit and bringing you into the group and giving you the
yeah,
opportunity to lead this project. Sometimes it's
and
like I know this is going to go bad. I'm just going to let it go bad, only because they're missing this key component, right? Sometimes people want the juice without understanding really what the squeeze is.
yeah,
So making sure that you then have the opportunity to either let it ride, move on to something else, unfortunately, or yeah, you can speak up, and now since you can fix it, you're ultimately and really getting the credit for
oh,
whatever it is. Yeah.
this is a good point, Andrew.
Hmm.
As far as sort of black coded
Panther from Thundercats is on the
and
list,
Jazz from
and
well, and
Jazz. Yeah.
Jazz was Scatman Crothers, so
Hmm.
he had such a distinctive voice.
Skeeter from Doug is another one that we're going to be going over, right? It's good. There's all sorts of just fun concepts to talk about, and it's not all heavy stuff. I mean, yeah, it's just a fun place to appreciate different perspectives.
Yeah.
So
Well, you have to
that's
have these conversations have to happen. Like
yeah,
we're not ever gonna learn or evolve or get better or understand if they're not happening. So
yep. And the conversations can't just happen, or well, yeah, the conversations can't only be happening, between black people either,
right,
or between, like, the LGBTQIA community knows what their issues are, and if they only talk to each other, it's good to band together, it's good to have solidarity, but other people ultimately need to understand and empathize with other
well, I
marginalized
mean,
groups, right?
it's the whole right. The whole point of it though is like um often the most racist, homophobic, reprehensible things get said when it's just white people. Um, yeah, I grew up in the South. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you know, people. I've heard people. You know, and again, you can tell what part of the country and what sort of upbringing people have. You know, when they're like, you know, like Blazing Saddles is a perfect example because the N word is dropped freely in that movie.
Mhm.
And you know, people are like, this could never get made today because of that. And it's like, well, it shouldn't get made today because this movie is complete on its own. You just need to rewatch it. Introduce your kids to the movie.
Yeah.
If it got remade today, the joke would be the N-word rather than the joke in Blazing Saddles is that these people are poorly educated, stupid, racist, and the
Hmm.
second they're in trouble, all of a sudden they're nice to the black man. Like that's the joke.
Yeah.
It's not that they're
Yeah.
saying the N-word to him. That is to show what hypocrites they are. But what people don't, like especially I mean in the South, the N-word still gets dropped
Hmm.
freely among white people.
Yeah.
Um, but that shift was in the 80s. Like I noticed that shift happening where it went from you would hear people refer to black people that way to their faces, and then the shift started happening as I don't want to say society improved, but as we learned a little bit more and people overall got better, and we're to a place where we're still kind of there.
Hmm.
There's obviously been some pushback in recent years, but overall, most people agree that dropping that. But behind closed doors, there are some people who say it freely and with the hard sound at the end, and who fully mean it.
Yeah.
And I've had them do it around me, and I don't call them out on it, like in the moment,
Hmm.
because if you're in a room full of people, like there's a risk there, depending on who the people are.
Yeah.
But I have been known to slash a tire or two when leaving a house, and then when oh my god, what happened? I'm like, well, when you say things like that, it invokes karma. Who knows what happened in the street when I was leaving? Wear gloves, kids. Wear gloves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing how a lot of people think, what they would do in different situations, right? We see shows, we see different portrayals, whether it's in
Yeah,
well, all throughout pop culture. There was an episode of Family Matters where somebody spray painted the N-word on Laura's
yeah,
locker,
right,
right? And that being a great conversation starter with my daughter, like walking through, what is the significance of that word? How do
right.
you respond in that scenario? How much power do you give other people? And you know what? That threshold is different for different people, right?
Yep,
Because different people have undergone different levels of pain behind it, right? One thing you don't do is just internalize it, right?
yeah. It's never
Um,
about you. It's never.
yeah, yeah. But
I
still,
mean,
to your point of like how thinking through how you approach it, and sometimes it is depending on how you know someone, what sort of relationship
right,
is there. It's kind of you got to pick a couple of different options, right? It's the what is it, the role playing games where you got the little pop
right,
up menu of, do I hit X to go scorched earth?
right,
Do we stop and have, okay, this is an educational moment where I'm going to shame you and I'm going to make you feel like super small? Do I just go about my life and completely, okay, mental note, write that person out, like write that person
right.
off? Where do you where do you go? Which option do you choose? And that is
Yeah,
going to depend on, one, your bandwidth, what you've got going on, two, who that person is to you as well.
right,
So it's never as simple as, oh, if somebody called me a this, I'd do that, and I'd flip
right.
tables, and okay, all right. It's easy to talk tough until you're in a situation where it does happen.
My on
And
my evaluation whenever I'm in a position to correct behavior is
mhm,
one, what is the safety level? Because sometimes you call people out, and that's how you end up in a river dead, found 3 weeks later. So you have to do the evaluation.
mhm.
Um, if safety is there, you then have to go to the um, who is this person to me, and what is their threshold of learning? Because if you go scorch earth with some people, it completely shuts them down, and they just don't care.
Now I'm the angry black
Yeah,
man. Now
or
you're just an
I'm the
emotional woman. See, this
I'm
is why you can't
I'm the
have women
woke
in
I'm the
charge.
woke
Yeah.
ass I'm a woke you're just a woke ass bitch. And you have to evaluate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't care if they, like I mean, one of my best friends gave me this coffee mug for Christmas like 5 years ago.
Oh, nice.
What the
Okay.
fuck? Because I literally kept calling him out on stuff. Um, but obviously, yeah, and we're still friends. He's gotten better because again, I knew how to approach him.
Well, and good
Uh,
friends are going to call each other out on their BS,
and
right?
sometimes people just, like if somebody comes from certain parts of the Midwest, they don't have the same experiences, so they don't know any better.
Mhm.
So again, it's like every person is different, and it's again, my emotional bandwidth for this person was pretty good because I knew that they were basically a good person. So I'm like, yeah, well, I'm willing to work with somebody I know is a good person and give them some grace and do a little come hither, let's fix this shit. But not everyone gets that. And I've gone no
I like
contact.
how you think.
I've gone no contact with big chunks of my family just because,
Yeah.
I've been having the same argument since. See, I met Nika in second grade, so fourth,
Okay.
fifth grade. Because I was stupid. I don't tell this story often because it sounds very white. It's very technically centering the way it happened, but she was my best
Okay.
friend because I've always been this weird kid, and people don't react to that well. But she was always my friend. And like she was friends with all of her cousins, so
Mhm.
accidentally, I was the only little white kid in this whole group of black girls.
Okay.
And I got the, like they had a better tan than I did, but I didn't get it, right? Because you're a kid. You
Mhm.
don't relate that N-word that you've heard people drop to your
Mhm.
friends, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a kid, you're disconnected. And this bitch at school was like, oh, well, you're an N-word lover.
Ugh.
And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, because you hang out with all those girls. And I was like, oh. And I was so confused, right? Because again, like we would do jump rope. Like I was one of those white kids who would say that because we were in this bubble. And they're like, no, they're like, this is how you say the jump rope song. You have to do it right.
Mhm.
So I cringe picturing third grade me on the playground screaming for Black Power and other things and jump rope songs, but whatever. So I went home. I was like,
Yeah.
Mom, this thing happened. And that's when my mom pieced it together for me. She's like, well, all of your friends are little black girls. That's what's going to happen. She's like, we live in the South. This is how people are. So
Which is sad that
which is
that is
sad,
part of the
but again,
conversation,
right?
but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that
then I
is
went
how
to,
people can be and will
and
be.
and I went to school the next day, and I was very sad. And they asked me why I was sad, and I was like, well, here's what she said. So they all beat her ass. And I was like, okay.
Happy ending to the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she ended up switching schools because she got her ass beat that bad. And then when they all went to the office and they were like, "Well, why?" I cried. So this is probably the only instance of a white woman weaponizing her tears in a way that benefited black people. So
I will not say that is only. I will say I think Tommy Davidson actually has a bit. And Tommy Davidson, one, if you haven't read his biography, it is really good. I've got it right over there. It's called Living in Color, and it's about how he was found in the trash. His mom
oh
was
yeah,
down and out, and a white woman who was a social worker actually rescued him from the trash. Just happened to be walking past the alley, heard him crying, and raised him. And about how, but she was also intentional to make sure that he had community
yeah,
with black people in his life, with strong black male role models.
right,
Anyways, all that kind of gives the backstory to his spiel of white women are superheroes. About how, like, have you ever
right.
been in a department store, or like in a Walmart or something, and there's only one cash register open and you're just standing in line quietly, and then she gets up there and she looks around, she's like, wait, how long have you been here? How long have you been waiting? And so she starts like
Yeah,
quizzing people and then making a scene like, this is outrageous, I can't believe. And then sure enough, all of a sudden people start coming out and opening up
yeah.
other lines, and it's like they're using their superpowers. It can be used for good. So
I did grow up seeing stuff like that. Like, so like
yeah.
it's just that's not what makes it onto the internet usually.
Yeah, the internet likes it's hate gets clicks, right? Whether you're hate baiting, where you're pretending to hate something that you really don't, or you're just picking things apart. Like, it's kind of what's happening a little bit with season 5 of Stranger Things,
Right.
where people are, oh, this isn't what I expected, and because it's not what I expected, it's now therefore bad. Um,
Right.
and rather than you can have legitimate criticisms. Like we have
Yeah.
legitimate criticisms that we will be discussing later. Uh, but it's never just you make it about like so if the dialogue is too much exposition or it's hard to listen to because it's like people don't talk like this in real life or
Right.
there are some legit criticisms and you need to make sure to be mindful not to get into the area where and another thing let me tell you about how I feel about this group of people. You're like,
Right. Well, there's a
you've
radical
lost me. Yeah.
difference between like this scene was poorly written
Yes.
and this element of the characters being should not be. It's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like, well, it is a major part of his character that even going all the way back to season 1, where there
Yeah,
were
it was.
references to
It's
it,
always
right?
been it was really evident to me, at least in season
Yeah,
2, the way he like the whole thing with Seven, where he just hated her.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's jealous. And I was just like, can't they fall? I mean, this is going to sound horrible because they were still children at the time, but I'm just like,
Mhm.
why does he got to be in love with the ugly one? Anyway, can he and Seven go find a pretty person to? Anyway, that's
That's
very
funny.
petty and
That is
shallow.
funny.
I apologize to any ugly children watching this. It's not your
It's not a
fault.
bad look. They were all, I mean, well, one, they're just kids. And they
Yeah,
were kids at the
exactly.
time. And then even now, they're just,
They're children. They're
yeah,
in their 20s, but
they're in
still.
their 20s.
I
But
felt very
yeah,
much like the rude mom in the neighborhood, like when her kid is like, I have a crush on this. Can you find somebody more attractive for your first crush? It wasn't like a personal, like, oh my God, I would never. It was more like, she deserves so much better.
yeah, IG post. I don't want to get too much into it. Well, I mean, we could talk about like stuff in the past, but
Yeah.
about how, but I don't want to get into like season 5 spoilers because I know like
No,
Andrew's
we'll
here, he
stay
hasn't
away
got a
from
chance to
that.
watch
Save
yet,
that.
so no spoilers. But even going way back to the first season, I always felt like you're talking about Eleven's relationship with Mike, and it's never been about looks because
I
what
keep calling her
kids like other kids,
Sarah.
whatever.
Sorry.
I didn't like the component of, or one of the things I really did appreciate about Lucas was how practical he was. He was like, wait a minute, this rando just popped up in the middle of the woods. She's not talking. Like, there's something off with her. And people will retroactively go back and say, Lucas was so mean to Eleven. Their friend disappeared. Here's somebody who seems to know something about it, but then isn't necessarily being forthcoming and isn't necessarily talking. It is kind of like, it kind of would make sense where Lucas wasn't wrong for being suspicious of her.
Right.
But Mike immediately meeting her and falling in love and saying things like, well, my mom could adopt you or my parents can adopt you, but then it's like you'd be my sister, but you're not really my sister. So like it'd be okay if we still date. And Lucas functionally, I mean, that was a whole weird dynamic. Where he effectively kidnapped her and she's the first person who or he's the first boy who she kind of like trauma bonded with after everything went down later. Anyways, but that whole weirdness of how possessive Mike was over 11 and wanting to control her, and even when he kissed her, and it's like, I get it, they're kids. This is the 80s. This is before we really pushed about consent, unfortunately.
This is in the age of Revenge of the Nerds.
Exactly. So just to have that be a part of the story has always kind of grossed me out. With clearly she was developmentally delayed because of trauma that had happened, and it's just like, well, no, it's all okay. Mike and Elle are a couple, and it's fine. And then it's okay for Mike to be a jerk to Max because he felt like Max was replacing 11, and even to the point where. Oh, I said no spoilers, so it's fine. But one of the things that does bug me is, well, let me pause on that because I don't know if Elle has chosen to continue to go by Elle. You know what I'm saying? Like if her name was Jane and then she got the moniker 11 because that's what she was called in Hawkins' lab. I was only thinking, like, why is she continuing to identify with that? Now, if it's something where she's reclaiming it and she's feeling empowered by owning the name, cool. But I don't know if the story has actually explored that. And
Probably.
it's just been a while since I've seen it because it's been 3 years between season 4 and season 5. So if
Yeah,
they
it's been a
explored it in the
while.
earlier seasons, I probably just missed it,
I don't
especially
remember
after they learned her name was Jane. So
I
yeah,
don't remember that coming up. And it seems like that would have been a big plot point,
yeah,
of her reclaiming her actual, birth name or whatever. So
yeah. Where people call her Jane now, and now she's yeah.
I mean,
But
just to play devil's advocate here.
mhm.
Drew Barrymore's character in Firestarter was called Charlie McGee. They didn't call her Firestarter. So I'm just saying. It would be the equivalent of like her dad being like, "Come here, Firestarter. That's what the government
Mhm.
called you. Your nickname is Starty or whatever."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fiery.
That's fair. I
So I don't know.
oh, but what was I gonna say?
That's a
Oh, so we were
legitimate.
talking about like the writers. I guess earlier in the conversation you had touched on when writers have kind of glossed over what the real experience of marginalized people in the 80s or in the 90s
Right,
would have been. And even now, as we're watching things, like our frame of reference is today. So, of course, a lot of people responding to that scene with Will going, "Yeah, okay,
right,
duh." But it's like, yeah, but we're the audience. We're not the people like
right,
in the story. We've seen all these other things. They aren't omnipotent or omniscient. Anyways,
right.
um, what the Duffer Brothers started with Lucas, even with having the bullies in season 1,
Yeah,
there's there being a racial component to it, um, where they called Lucas Midnight, which
right,
side note, I know people have said it before. One, I get that they were doing that to not go like too far into the slurs that would have potentially
right.
been used. But Midnight is kind of a cool nickname.
A
Like it's
little
kind of a
bit,
cool
right?
GI Joe nickname, but I know they were
Yeah, no.
intending it to be a slur, right?
I mean,
Um,
like literally, if you were to become a superhero called Midnight, like
like it's kind of a cool name,
it would be a cool name, right?
or call tag or whatever.
Yeah,
But
right,
the even the whole dynamic with Max and with Lucas, where Billy was racist,
right,
and even that was a little interesting because it was like, okay, if you go back in time, the Loving court ruling, which made it legal for interracial marriage,
hmm
was in '69.
yeah,
So they're less than 20 years removed
yeah.
from that
There would
actually
have
becoming
been
legal. They're in the Midwest. More people than the transplant kid from California would have had issues with seeing Lucas and Max together.
of all of the people to not have an issue with it, it would be less about the transplant kid from California. It's a
Yeah.
small town, like
Now I get it. Billy was carrying things over. We don't know where his dad was from. Clearly, his dad had some issues
oh
and
yeah,
actually used some slurs towards Billy, right?
yeah.
So it's
They,
if
I
that
do feel
was
like I feel like the use of actual slurs that they were pretty
intentional or
intentional, and I feel
yeah.
like they did handle. I do the Midnight thing. I was just like it was like let's make up a slur but not get too close to any actual slurs, and I'm like there are a few slurs that were used in the time that you could probably use now because they've fallen out of use that
Mhm.
wouldn't probably hit as hard. I'm not going to say them because I don't say
Yeah, and so
but there are a
one, what
few
I'm
people
not
that
trying to be a proponent of is just say the slur, right? I'm not
yeah,
we're
yeah,
not
I'm
trying to
definitely
do
not a
that.
fan of that, but I feel
But they got close to it and they explored different components of Lucas's
yeah,
relationship to growing up in Hawkins, Indiana, and him being in a group of friends.
yeah,
In season 2 when they were just as Ghostbusters, and they said you have to be Winston, and he was like, I don't want to be
yeah,
Winston.
right.
And then
Yeah,
Mike was
like
like, what's wrong with Winston? Like that was a great conversation because I know me growing up that absolutely was different conversations if we're cosplaying things. Hey, we're being X-Men, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can either be Beast because he's blue and furry, or you could be Bishop. And it's like, but I want to be Gambit. Well, you can't be Gambit. Like,
right.
why can't I be Gambit? Yeah, I know. So I'm Gambit now, right?
Well,
Like, I've had those
yeah,
conversations.
yeah. Like on the playground when I was a kid, if it was strawberry shortcake, you Orange Blossom, 'cause she's a little black
Mhm.
girl. Or
Yeah.
Star Wars, you had to be Lando. Or
Which
Jabba the
I don't
Hutt.
mind that
Like, what
because
is
Lando
Lando?
Calrissian was one of the coolest dudes in, like, you couldn't tell me nothing. Lando is awesome. Yeah.
Lando or Jabba the Hutt. Like, that's come on, guys. Like, that's not.
Yeah. Well, I
I
guess you could
remember
have
that.
been, or a black person could have been Chewie. But then even then, it's kind of like
Maybe.
you're reduced to these different roles where you're
Yeah,
not, centered in the story.
but nobody.
Um,
Darth Vader, guys. Come on. If you're gonna like that one's evident. Like if you're gonna
yeah.
if you're gonna force the black kid into a role in Star Wars because of color, Darth Vader, because he's cool, even though he is a genocidal
That
youngling
was before we knew. Well, no, actually, no. He literally blew up an entire planet. So,
wife
yeah,
beating
yeah, yeah. There's
sexual
a.
pest. I've loved you since I
Uh,
was a child. You look like the angels of Aega. Nice story, kid.
Are you an angel?
We're about to get blown up, so I
Yeah,
guess I love you or something. Oh, Padme.
yeah. Oh,
As
just
what do they
just
call
bad stuff,
Stockholm
but.
syndrome in space? Padme. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with Elle too, that I can't help but feel like there, and not that I'll even realize what was happening, but there's got to
right,
be a little bit of that of he literally kept her in his basement in a little tent
right,
and was like, "Don't leave. Don't move. I told you not to go." And
yeah,
it's like
right.
this is not good. This is
Mhm.
yeah, and then him freaking out on her when like that
When
I
she
can
tried
I
to
can
go and be a full-rounded person by like going to the
yeah.
mall and
Yeah.
getting it. At least the haircut that they gave her was
Mhm.
appropriately terrible to the time period. So
Yeah, and that's a fair criticism. I'm looking at what Black Phoenix posted. It's a fair
oh,
criticism of Attack of the Clones. Is that zero chemistry between Padme and Anakin?
and what's wild
Like,
was Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman were actually dating when they made that movie.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they
I could
met.
have not.
He
No.
auditioned, and part of the reason he got the job was their chemistry.
Well, then
Um,
maybe it was direction that was
it's
lacking.
yeah,
I know watching it back again,
the entire
it's
prequel
weird.
trilogy suffers from blue screen-itis, where
Hmm.
Lucas would splice like different takes together. So you weren't a lot of those you weren't
Okay.
getting the authentic them acting back and forth. He would go through and they would do a scene like
Pick what
say
he
20,
liked.
30
Yeah.
times. He would pick the take he liked best. And as like infamously mentioned by Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, more so than Mark Hamill, um, Lucas's direction was always quicker, faster, more intense. So his eye was never like. I mean, he thought that Kate Capshaw and Harrison Ford had chemistry in Indiana Jones. So it's like, sir, there is only one woman for Indiana Jones. That's Marion Ravenwood.
Absolutely. Yeah. But even
But
then, again, another problematic relationship from the 80s. And well, it's still portraying the problematic relationships that existed. So what I'm not saying
yeah.
is to, again, sugarcoat things as though we
Well, I
have
mean,
the
like,
social norms that we have now. But
it's a little problem.
her
I mean,
saying
like,
that I was a
yes.
child. It's like, what? Ew. What did you do, Indy? I don't like this. Yeah.
Well, you're right, and they never clarify. Like,
Mm-mm.
was she 18 and he was 23? Was he 72 and she was 12? Like, explain, people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something retroactively we need. We need that age gap explained.
Give us
Because
something. Like, even if you
Frank.
clean it up, like, you can
Yeah.
retcon things, but yeah.
I mean, all it takes is her being 18 and him being 22. That is appropriate, in my opinion. That's an appropriate
Yeah.
age for the 30s. I mean, to be fair, in the 30s, like you hit 14 and they were marrying you off to some 40-year-old man so you could reproduce. So
Yeah, and
there are much bigger issues back in that time frame.
that's honestly why a lot of people still push back. I still see different legislation anytime they talk about raising the age of consent in different state congresses, and they'll say things like, well, my great granny was married when she was 12 and they lived and they were happy and they had so and so. So since I owe my life to this, I don't think we should raise the age. And it's like, first of all, you. Second of all, we now know better, so how about we do better? Like, we're not retroactively going to arrest your grandpa. Like, laws evolve as people and society changes and understands things. I'm not trying to criminalize your grandpa, but it's a little weird.
Not for that, sir. Well, it's just, also people are like, well, like when the average life expectant, you were you were older at like 45, 50, like
that's different too. Exactly.
People were getting, and there's an old
What's your life expectancy?
Old man, 40, wanting to marry a 13-year-old girl. The whole thought was, well, he'll die and leave me all his money.
So, I just think the issue really just comes from the adultification of children, where it suits a certain
the
narrative or ideology, right? People will say young women when referring to certain files that should be redacted and everything, and it's like, nope, not young women, girls. Say girls. Some were young women, children though. And then, but in situations where you're talking about what we were just talking about with legislation,
right?
But nobody's ever talking about how they should lower the age for access to alcohol. So let me get this straight. You believe somebody is of sound mind and body to be in a relationship, to make a decision about being in an intimate sort of relationship, but not enough to have a beer. Which of those could be more life altering?
When I lived in Louisiana, the drinking age when I was in high school was 18.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then we kept getting kids driving over from like Texas, the surroundings, because we were the only state at the time that was still 18. So the federal government was like, we are withholding funding for your roads until you up the drinking age or whatever. So they waited luckily it was the year I turned 21, so I was good. My boyfriend at the time was 19, so not so much, but it was nice. The one weekend we went out, and then the next weekend I'm like, all right, I'm going to the club. And he was like, but I can't go. I'm like, oh, isn't it sad? So it was nice to have a bunch of drinks bought for me instead of dating that broke ass. But whatever. I came home to him a couple of times. Anyway, the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's
the wild
very accurate
time.
Black Phoenix. Yeah. I wonder where I know where he is now. I don't even have to say that.
Is that? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know exactly. He's one of the actual ones that we're still friendly. He's not a Carl.
Sight beyond sight. That's a fun name. Hello.
Well, hello. Welcome. You've missed all of the social justice portion of. I mean, it's going to continue. It's me and Quip, but you can have a social justice time. Come for the coloring. Come to get woke.
Yeah. Yeah. But just, I think it's puzzling how hard it is for people to just be a good person. Like, put yourself in another person's shoes. Like, when somebody has been centered for most of their lives and they are unable to just identify with other people and to understand the plight that they're going through, or to even understand that, there's that famous quote where it's like, you stay quiet now and you stay quiet when they go after a different group and a different group and a different group. And hey, they came after you and nobody was left to speak up.
The leopards come for your face.
Yeah.
Because eventually they will. They always do.
An injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere, right? So trying to just be on the right side of things. I don't understand. Well, I mean, I can understand the selfishness that can come from certain mindsets and ideologies, but ultimately, growing, maturing, being exposed, it comes from reading. It comes from talking to people too. Just getting to know people, understanding who they are, where they come from, and not only staying within your, what's the word I'm looking for? Not
Bubble.
homogenous bubble, but yeah, a bubble that looks like you, thinks like you, talks like you, and nobody ever challenges any sort of thought, right?
Yeah. You have to, expand your mind. Otherwise, really quick, we're an hour in. So, Site Beyond Site is a member. So, we'll do another.
Bring out the off. Bring out the off. Bring out the off.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
There we go. I'm going to get at some point a glass. I'm going to film at some point a little clip of me lip syncing to that. Excellent. See? I was about to say we're everywhere, but I'm not a brown person, no matter what my foundation today may say. My eczema was really bad over here, so I had to go a little bit darker to cover that up. Sorry. I have old shitty skin, y'all. So.
No, not at all.
That does remind me of the one time I almost got punched by some bitch at the supermarket. She was all up in my space.
Okay.
And I kept having to ask her to back up.
Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't. And then whenever I said back up, like the third time, she got up in my face. And I'm like, I'm just confused. And she's like, what? I'm like, are you trying to do blackface or are you just really shitty at bronzer? I did almost get punched, but that would have been worth it. Like,
Yeah.
That would have been one of the great Allison stories of forever.
There you go.
Instead, I think she cried a little bit, but that's okay. Because it was really dark. It looked like. Anyway.
I can think of things. Sometimes I'm in my bag and I'll think of things on the fly, but I can't. I'm the type of person who, a couple days later, you're in the shower and you go, I should have said this.
What happens to me most is my brain generates these things, and I've gotten because I used to not be very good with my filters, and sometimes, like I was back when I was in one of the cults, we would have this thing every Tuesday where like it was open hours for people to come check us out, and this girl showed up. And I was like, nice wolf sweatshirt. And I thought it was my inside voice. It was not. And she had one of those like t-shirts like my dad has, like with the wolves and the moonlight and the inside of a dirtbag van from 1978. And she walked in and I was just like, nice wolf sweatshirt. And that was, everyone turned and looked at me. She looked like she was gonna cry, and that was like, oh, that was my that wasn't even my head. So since then I've gotten better because she cried a little bit, and then she never came back, and then of course I got in trouble because how cults recruit. It's not by you insulting somebody's wolf sweatshirt. So
yeah,
we have to be friendly and welcoming, Allison.
Yes, let's be kind. Let's lead with kindness. And then if somebody wants to take it there, then you match energies.
And
but you
oddly,
lead with kindness.
That was when I was like, maybe I shouldn't be in a cult. It wasn't any of the other. It was the time I got in trouble for making fun of somebody's outfit. So
fair enough.
Everyone has their decompression, their deconstruction starts for different reasons. And for me, it was when they were like, we like you mean and sassy, but not that mean and sassy. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Exactly. Cal-El, no.
Get out of your echo chamber and meet some folks. Yes, ma'am.
I have that one. I have that one too.
Cal-El, no.
Cal-El, no.
Oh, wait. This is the best one, then. This is the one that I can't not laugh.
Max Lord, you're putting yourself and everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone. What happened to it?
It made you snort.
It did.
Oh.
So bad. Like, even watching that movie Christmas Day, I was like, ooh. Like, the Christmas Day it released.
I loved the first one. First I started off critical. Ooh, she's walking across no man's land, but then it's kind of like, all right, that's kind of a fun, tongue in cheek thing.
Mhm.
But that second movie, again, here we are all about consent, people. Consent.
Yeah.
That whole storyline where Chris
Okay, so
Pine's character went into
right.
that dude,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the movie, she walked past him and he was kind of like, "Do I know you?" And she like winked at him. I was
Yeah.
like, "Ew, why would you have Wonder Woman do that? Like that's
So, okay.
so
So
gross."
I know people who watch this stream. I've explained this before, but
Okay.
they mangled it. Okay,
Okay.
so in 1970, Wonder Woman sales were down. They brought in Dennis O'Neil from the Batman comics.
Okay.
He helped create Ra's al Ghul.
Nice. Okay.
Brought back Murder Joker.
Cool.
So they brought him on to Wonder Woman. They're like, we need you to revamp her. So their idea was, we'll take away her powers. She'll become Emma Pill from like the Avengers. We'll have her learn martial arts. Her martial arts instructor will be a blind Chinese man named I Ching.
Go on.
And let's kill Steve Trevor. So they kill him. And then in 1974, they bring Steve Trevor back from the dead.
Okay.
How do they do this? They don't really explain. He's just back from the dead. And they bring him back leading an army of men on Paradise Island because it's right after Wonder Woman gets her powers back. So Aphrodite and her mom decide we need to make sure that she's okay because she got her memory back. And the Justice League just made her do 12 feats to prove she was worthy of rejoining the Justice League. How dare those men do that? We're going to test her, and we're going to bring her boyfriend back from the dead and put him in charge of this army of men.
Okay.
And because they're all dead, it's okay because at the time, if a man set foot on Paradise Island, they would all lose their powers and age and turn to dust. And so anyway, yeah.
Okay.
At the end, they were about to send them all back to the land of the dead, and Wonder Woman asked Aphrodite, will you let Steve Trevor stay? I miss him. I love him. My life is incomplete without this man. So they let him stay. And they kill him again in 1978. And then they bring him back from an alternate universe in like 1981.
Okay.
And all is good until Eros, the god of love, son of Aphrodite, shows up and is all crazy. And he's like, I'm the real Steve Trevor. And so at the end of that story, circa 1984, 85, it turns out that when they brought him back from the dead back in 74, Aphrodite put the spirit of Steve Trevor in the body of her son, Eros, the god of love.
Okay.
And that's why Eros went mad, because he was bonded with Steve Trevor's pain memories. So then they have to take those memories out of out of Eros, put them in the alternate dimension Steve Trevor, and everything works out. So basically they badly adapted a already patchwork
weird story. Okay.
5 different writers over 20 years trying to fix this thing that Dennis O'Neil did. I said the biggest mistake they're making, of course, is that they're adapting the story that was already. It shows that whoever went in, Patty Jenkins, and looked at those stories and was like, let's adapt some of these missed the letter columns where people were calling all that shit out.
Okay.
So that's where it comes from. So even in the story, the way it's handled is sort of sus, but at the same time, Eros goes mad because of what happened and he thinks he's in love. So there is, and at the time, it's not like Wonder Woman and Steve were having, it was the 70s comics. Women don't have sex unless they're She-Hulk. And
okay.
So but that's what happened. They adapted a story that was already, I think they just thought, oh, this is what's happening in 84. The fans would love it. We didn't love it back then, guys. So that's the problem, is they adapted that story and then they adapted it badly, because part of the repercussions of sticking his spirit in someone else's body and letting him run around as Steve Trevor as her boyfriend was it drove Eros mad, and they basically had to heal Eros's mind after it. So So even then in the 80s, the consent side of it wasn't technically addressed, but like the emotional side of it, like there were
Yeah.
some repercussions
They
for the
acknowledged that that would be enough to drive someone mad.
and Wonder
Yeah.
Woman was also not Diana was not aware that his spirit was in somebody else's body. She just thought it was Steve. So it was like also like
I'm not mad. I'm not even mad at the storyline. Well, I mean, okay, it's a choice to bring Steve back,
yeah.
especially since
They bring him back all the time in comics. He dies, they bring him
yeah,
back. So that
yeah,
for me
exactly.
tracks. Like
But it really was just that scene where it's like, okay, that was unnecessary because it does raise all sorts of moral questions of how aware was the man. Clearly, there was some level of him being aware if he recognized, like, why do you look familiar, even if you're in
right.
plain clothes at the end. And then her kind of like winking and laughing as
Well,
she
that
like
and
walked
I
off.
think
That was weird.
they could have
Yeah.
left all of that out, and like I
Yeah.
don't think the questions would have come up. Like they're
Yeah.
just
It was
between
unnecessary.
that and then the cheetah thing. Like I love Kristen Wiig, I love the cheetah.
Hmm.
We were all cheated that we didn't get the transformation scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if
She
you
just kind of
didn't
just
know that
popped up and it
Kristen
was
Wiig
her.
was
Yeah.
playing a cheetah, I had friends who have never read any of the comics who were like, "What was that at the end?
Hmm.
And what happened to Kristen Wiig?" I'm like, "No, that was Kristen Wiig. She's a cheetah now, but how? We don't know."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just the werewolf cheetah scene of her painfully transforming that and then cutting out the
Hmm.
weird wink at the end. I
It
think those
could
two
have been
things,
better.
it would have made it a lot better.
But see, this is a conversation where we are criticizing a
Yeah.
film centered around a woman and not saying, and this is why women shouldn't be lead superheroes or can't be. It's just, hey, they could have made this better. These components are problematic. And so hopefully next time they choose to explore if I almost said Kevin Feige, but who's the
James Gunn.
James Gunn, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If James Gunn chooses to explore Wonder Woman, hopefully they do it more justice this go around.
And to this point, Alex, the art was by Don Heck. So yes, they all look alike. Don Heck, while one of my favorite Silver Age artists,
Okay.
he drew everyone. Like he had two, unless it was an Asian woman, and then the face was different. But he's also the guy who helped co-create the original Mandarin and Iron Man.
So, okay.
So there's a lot of I mean, he's no longer with us. He was super old in the 60s, like he was in his 40s and 50s when he was working at Marvel and DC. Like he was that guy where like he drew the Avengers for a while. He was the artist whenever they brought Captain America joined the Avengers. So
okay, cool.
But he, like it was the time where it wasn't, like now, like books will get delayed because, it takes a while to do the art. Whereas back then it was like, can you get all 32 pages of this comic done each month?
Yeah.
And then we'll give it to Vince Coletta and he will like ruin your art even more. So
That's one thing that I do want to get more into as well is, I mean, I read some comics growing up, not a lot.
Yeah.
And reading more and getting more backstory. Like I'll know things from conversations I listen to, podcasts, just knowing you by proxy, right? Where I pick up on a lot of comic book history, Gotham City Tonight. But I don't I didn't read a lot of comic books growing up. I was a fan of I got exposed to a lot of comic book characters from Marvel cartoons, or the toys were more of an introduction, and the Topps cards where I would read the back and get the backstory.
Yeah.
And I would read some comics that friends would have, but I never got too into collecting comics. Like there was never just a line that I had to read beginning to end,
Well, I have 37 long boxes of comics, so if you need any recommendations, I can hook you up.
Cool.
And I've just been getting back into, because I took some time off because they sucked for a while. And I recently did Lanterns Live with Ralph.
Okay, yeah.
He recommended some Green Lantern, and one of the Green Lantern book he recommended, Far Sector.
Okay.
was really good. And I'm gonna recommend that to you because
Okay.
I thought, as somebody who's woke as fuck, how woke as fuck, so woke as fuck. I got the cup.
How woke is she?
Yeah. Um, but no, I mean, serious. I felt like it wasn't. I mean, there are people who are always going to call it woke because it's got a
Yeah.
black bisexual woman as the Green Lantern in it. It's on an
Okay, I did
alien
recently
world
hear
with a
about.
lot of
Yeah.
different species on it.
Okay.
But I thought it was a really good Green Lantern story, which doesn't happen often. It's really easy to screw up a Green Lantern story. It was a really good representation of who she. It helped that they got the same voice as author and artist, so
Okay.
like it wasn't like some white people telling the story. Edge and the art was gorgeous. It looks like watercolor in some sequences. Like, but I think it would be a good place to sort of jump in.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I will
I
definitely have
recommend
to
that
check
for
that out.
sure.
Yeah.
And I again, like I
And what
was
was the name of it again? Sorry.
Green Lantern Far Sector,
Okay.
and it was like the debut of the new Green Lantern, Joe. So, but yeah, I thoroughly, and Ralph. I was just like, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. I want some Green Lantern, and Ralph like fired that one off, and it was the perfect. It was perfect because I gave up on comics during the New 52 because it turned into like trauma. Like everything was dark, everything was gritty. People are dying. They completely radically rewrote Wonder Woman's origin so that it was dark and gritty, and she's got her dad now because men can't relate to Wonder Woman because she doesn't have a dad. And
Okay.
yeah, because the original story of Wonder Woman is essentially like her mother Hippolyta wanted a baby,
hmm
but she's an immortal queen of the Amazons. I mean, who hasn't been there, right? So she hits a certain point of life and she wants a baby. So the gods and goddesses, the
hmm
Greeks, direct her to go to the beaches of Paradise Island, Themyscira, and scoop up some of the magic clay and to make a baby. If it's the 1970s, she was told to take light clay and dark clay and also sculpt Wonder Woman's black sister, Nubia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm familiar with Nubia as a
And
character.
there's a
Okay.
great scene from like 1982 in Super Friends where they reintroduce Nubia and Wonder Woman's like, my black sister. I'm like, oh no, this is really 80s. But
Very 80s. Yeah.
but anyway, like, and then they give the clay life, and then in the 80s, George Perez sort of fixed it so that the soul that
hmm
went into her was all the Amazons had been women who were brutally murdered and mistreated by men, and that's how they died. And all of those were collected in the womb of Gaia.
mm
So when the Amazons were created by the goddesses, they took all of those souls that had been collected by Gaia, and that's what and Hippolyta was
hmm
pregnant at the time of her murder. She was the first woman murdered
Oh.
in
Okay.
history, and she was pregnant at the time. So after all the Amazons were born, only Diana's soul remained. So that went into the clay statue. So like, and that's even before the George Perez add-on of the Spirit. That's a really powerful story, right?
It is absolutely.
Especially with the character that's about female empowerment. Like there
hmm
is no patriarchy. Most of her biggest villains are the male gods of the Greek and Roman pantheon. Like there's a thing, and for um God, what is that? Jeff Johns to come along. Men can't relate to her because she doesn't have a dad. It's like, tell me you don't understand the character, dude.
But I mean, that was in a time where, I mean, there were very gender coded toys
It
or
was
stories. Like, it's not
2007.
uncommon to
It was
say,
like 2011, 2012.
oh,
He said that.
okay, so, all right.
So for the dark times of feminism, like she had no dad. It's
Yeah.
during the mid 2000s where Jeff Johns was like, you know, I bet more men would read this comic book if she had a dad. So of course that was the version they picked for the movie, where Zeus is her dad and she can make lightning when she like none of that. That was all really recent additions to her character. So anyway,
Okay. No, that's
and this is
yeah.
absolutely true, Alex, and that's the one I have. That's what I bought.
Okay.
And I'm also enjoying Absolute Wonder Woman, despite it being a
Okay.
darker comic book. So
Yeah.
it's set in a world where Darkseid was born on Earth, so everyone's dark and gritty. And I usually don't
Okay.
like dark and gritty Wonder Woman. I don't like that she's dark and gritty, but I like what the writer is doing. And hopefully when Tom King leaves the main Wonder Woman series, she will write that one. Because I'm not enjoying the Tom King Wonder Woman. It reminds me why I stopped reading comic books. So,
Fair enough.
but yeah. So how is your page coming?
My page, I think, for all intents and
Oh,
purposes,
very nice. Looking
yeah,
good. Fonzie, Kermit, and then Rolf.
yeah, and
Nice.
Rolf, yeah. There's three of my favorite Muppets, so they were
They're
all
pretty
there.
good. Well, it's funny
Yeah.
because now that you've reminded me, the reason like Muppet Babies is hard to find now is because of the licensing on it.
Yeah.
Because they use like all the different music and
Indiana Jones, Star
yeah.
Wars references, all kinds of movies. I'm sure
And
there
I
was
think-
like Jaws at one point. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
And they kind of were able to do it in the moment because it was Steven Spielberg's production company doing it.
Mhm.
So sort of at the moment, it was really easy to get the licensing. But of course, at the time, home video, DVD streaming wasn't a thing. So they didn't secure the rights. And going back with all of the mega corporations, it's like Universal, Paramount, and Disney now. So now that it's only 3 companies, but I'm going to assume that 2 of them don't want to license to Disney right now for Muppet Babies,
Yeah.
which is too bad. Their Star Wars parody is one of the best episodes ever.
It was good. That's one that really stands out to me as far as episodes of Muppet Baby. Yeah.
Animal Vader. They played
Let
that
me
one
see.
year on our local channel after the Charlie Brown Christmas, and that was the year we taped so we had it was the Charlie Brown Christmas and then Muppet Babies Star Wars.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I'm looking it
Yeah.
up. Of course, Miss Piggy is Leia. Didn't they have 2 Leias? I remember Skeeter being Leia, like in one scene too, and they were
I
just
think
kind of
they-
like there can
I
only be
think
one. Yeah.
She wanted, yeah, and then they made her be R2D2 or C3PO. I think she ended up being
Yeah.
C3PO because
Yeah, I think was Gonzo R2? Yeah, and
Yeah.
Fonzie was Chewbacca. Okay.
Vader,
Yeah, that's fun.
Animal was Vader, of course. So,
I'm looking through images now because it's been so long.
it was a really good I mean, I remember watching that until our VHS tape died. So back in the day when you would record stuff off the television.
Absolutely. You might, in order to save space, pause it during the
Commercials.
commercials. Yeah.
And hope that you remember to turn it back on.
Turn it back on.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny having conversations with my daughter too. It's like commercial breaks. You used to just run to the bathroom, come back. You never change the channel because heaven forbid you change the channel and your parents want to start watching something else and you can't get back to finish whatever else other episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and you watched all the commercials. Like everyone was watching the same 3 things.
And then you go to school and you talk about what you saw, whether it was
And if it was really good, you played it on the playground.
exactly.
In 1984, when Lace with Phoebe Cates came out, me and my friends, Nika, Lakeisha, Coretta, Tawana, and Kiawanda, would play Lace on the playground. And every day we took turns going, which one of you bitches is my mother? Again, we were, I mean, I found my people, obviously. But
Yeah, clearly every Everybody has a group out there. You just gotta
Everyone has
find
the
your
weird.
people. That's all. Yeah.
Which one of you? I mean, again, between Black Power and which one of you bitches is my mother? It's no wonder that so many of the kids thought I would. You know, I miss the '80s.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Lace. Well, one, it was 3 years before, but I'm
Yeah,
looking now at okay. All right. Oh, you had some big names in here. Okay.
Phoebe Cates, Bess Armstrong. You'll get to see a little
Brooke
clip at the end
Adams.
of the
Yeah.
episode.
Okay.
I end with that moment every time I do a live stream. That isn't not for Retro Cavalcade, but I think actually I did end with it. One of the cavalcades.
Okay.
I need to get some assets together for our wrap up of the year of that, and
That'll be
coordinate with
good.
the cavalcaders.
When are you doing your wrap up?
I don't know yet. I
Okay.
have to ping the other Andrew. I don't know why I'm acting like everyone doesn't know who they are. They're in chat.
Andrew and Derek.
But
Yeah.
I need to check in with them so we can. I obviously won't be until like sometime in January.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense. Yeah.
let's see what you're doing that night.
Okay. Cool. Hit me up. I know
Yeah.
it'll be fun. I'm wrapping up some stuff with work. Got to finish up
Yeah.
a couple of projects with school too. But let me know.
Yeah. Well, you're technically at this point unofficially like the fourth member, so
Cool.
I
Okay.
think we've had you on more than anyone else.
Nice. Happy to join your ragtag group of rebels. No.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. No, it's cool.
Governor Talkin, I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Oh.
And like telling, and again, like people wonder why I'm like I am. I was 3 when I saw that, and I'm like, she's the best. She told that old man he stunk.
I mean, again, at the time, for age appropriate
Right?
things that you can watch, right? Because you shouldn't have been watching Alien at like if you were 3 when you're saying 3 when A New Hope came out.
Yeah, I was 3.
Okay. And A New Hope, when did A New Hope come out?
1977. Yeah.
77. Okay. All right. So you would have been 5 when Alien came out, right? Because Alien came out in
It was
79, didn't it?
It was 79, so I was 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
was.
mean, but Alien was a great movie as far as leading in with certain actor. You thought Dallas was
Mhm.
going to be the lead, and then Dallas is gone. Oop,
Yeah,
surprise,
that
Ripley.
scene to this day, like if I'm not on top of it,
Hmm.
like it still makes me jump a little when he turns around.
Yeah.
Like it's just an effective scene. Like you, even when you know it's coming, if you're not perfectly frozen, it will give me a jump. So
Yeah.
such a good
Absolutely.
movie. Like yeah, we had some good movies. We had some good movies.
Yep.
And then it was 1980 when my grandma took me to see. We went to see 9 to 5 a lot. She really liked that one. And so,
Okay.
again,
Stumble out of bed and fumble to the kitchen. Pour yourself a cup of ambition. Yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one. Jump in the shower and your blood starts pumping. Out on the streets, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5.
There you go. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
I do like. Are you familiar with the rapper Aesop Rock?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
might have heard some of their work.
He does like a little bit of a cover. He's got a song called
Okay.
9 to 5ers Anthem. And
Got it.
I guess he kind of like refers to it. But the hook for that is, what is it? We, the American working population, hate the fact that 8 hours a day is wasted on chasing the dream of someone that isn't us. And we may not hate our jobs, but we hate jobs in general that don't have to do with fighting our own causes.
Right.
And then there's a part of it where there's like a bridge where he goes stumble out of bed and fumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition. Yeah.
Well, even
Yeah.
in 80, she has that line. It's like, you're just a step in the boss man's ladder. Like, and then the other ones, they let you dream just to watch them shatter. Yep. And then there's the other one where it's like, where it's talking about how you're making money for them, but not yourselves.
Mhm.
Like, it was pretty ahead of its time, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Dolly Parton is one of the few. I mean, like, you know,
She was
what's to say?
solid.
There's no
It was solid,
ethical
yeah.
billionaires, but I'm gonna say, as far as billionaires go, like Dolly Parton has done a lot of good. So,
hmm Dolly Parton and Betty White. Again, to go back earlier when you were saying, white women who use their voice to champion
yeah,
others.
there are.
Lucille Ball is another
Yeah,
one. Yep.
she did a lot. Yeah, Lucy. Well,
I
Lucy.
love.
People also miss the
Yeah.
fact Lucy was in an interracial relationship at a time where that
Yeah.
was not
Yep.
the norm. So, good old Lucy.
Yeah, I know. There's a clip of her where she was older at the time, but she was doing like a talk show, and people were asking her questions in the audience, and every single time a woman in the audience stood up to ask a question, the host would like put his arm on her shoulder or on her low back. Very creepy, very much kind of like the dude who
Yeah,
would kiss everybody on Family Feud. But
yeah,
what I love was her calling it out each and every time. She was like, "Stop
yeah,
touching her. Stop touching her. Hands to yourself. Like you don't have to.
yeah,
You don't have to touch people in order for them to ask me a question."
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just
And
sort of how it was. Like,
kind of just the entitlement to be able to touch somebody else's body unnecessarily. Yeah,
well, I
I
mean, it's
don't.
like, like when you watch Batman Returns and Selena Kyle, after she's resurrected by the cats, she comes back to her apartment.
Mhm.
The answering machine has all the calls from her mom, but there's also the Gotham City department store, the perfume ad. One whiff of this, and your boss will be asking you to stay after work for an intimate dinner.
Ugh.
And of course, it's extra ironic because her boss caught her after hours at work and murdered her. But like
Mhm.
literally, that's the sort of like that used to be a narrative. Get a job with the sexy boss, and you'll get like Mad Men, like perfect example of sort of that. Like these secretaries should be grateful these men are looking at them.
This is
Yeah,
your only means by which you can come up through the world, and then
yeah,
you can fulfill your true life's duty, which is to be a mom and a wife.
yeah.
While again, there's nothing wrong with that if that is
If
your
that's
personal
what you
aspiration. If
want,
that is
yeah,
what you want to do, cool.
do
But
it.
to not force somebody into that role is what's important.
Yeah, right. Like options, people need
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
Would I like to stay at home and raise? Well, I work from home, but would I like to not have a job and spend all day with just my cats? Of
Mhm.
course.
My dream job is to be a kept man, right? I don't want to work. I don't have a dream job because working is a means by which you can
Well, I don't
truly
think,
live and do other things,
yeah.
right?
Like my goal is never to be a kept woman. Um, but I think if you look at even sort of that the narrative of like the kept woman or whatever, the whole goal is to
Mhm.
not work,
Yeah,
have your time back, and to
that's
sort of
really the thing.
get your time back, and that's all it
Yeah.
is. Like it's not. I mean, there's some people who feel incomplete unless they're part of a relationship, and for that, I
Mhm.
love it for you. If that grinds your gears, go for it.
Yeah.
Um, I say that as someone who's been in a relationship for our 10-year anniversary is in a couple months.
Oh,
Um,
congratulations.
yeah, it's pretty cool, and so far so good. I mean, we bought a house together, so whatever. But it also didn't happen until I gotten past the whole concept. Oh, I need to be paired off to be happy. When we met, I was on all the apps and I was going on dates
hmm
to date. And I will say the day that I was disappointed that I wasn't making connections. Like I didn't necessarily want a serious long-term relationship, but I was wanting to meet people that like there were connections with, and that was
Yeah,
not happening.
that's fair.
I
That's
kept
hard
going.
too, because how are you meeting people like through?
It was through OkCupid, so it's a little bit more
Okay,
relation.
okay.
It's not like it was on Tinder or Grinder, or I mean, I don't think they would let me on Grinder. Possibly, who knows? It's a
Yeah.
crazy world we live in. But it wasn't like one
Absolutely.
of those hookup. It wasn't a hookup app. It was like
It
one of
was
the ones
a
that
like,
was
yeah, people
at the
seeking
time.
relationships and
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Cupid. And it clearly states what you're looking for. And mine was just like wasn't looking for hookups. I was just wanting to go on dates. I dated all those Carls. They were all nightmares.
Mhm.
I just wanted to get into that, learn how to date people and go on dates and sit and have drinks and like have a conversation and
Yeah.
socialize with flirty time.
Socialize with flirty time. Okay.
And I wasn't even getting that. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna delete this app. Let's see what suggestions there are today. And Matt was like had just joined OkCupid. It's like the
Nice.
first day he joined the app. And I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't seem like a complete loser. Let me reach out. And here we are 10 years later. So
There you go. That works.
but for the first
Fantastic.
6 months, it was just we were still technically dating. I had stopped, not for monogamy reasons, but because it was just work, life, my activism. It was really difficult to sort of balance dating lots of people.
Mhm.
So, go to the
That
mark.
makes sense. It's
Go
good
on.
that that's a success story, though. I've had a couple of friends. I know my brother met my sister-in-law, my now sister-in-law, through dating apps and through World of Warcraft, actually.
Oh, nice.
And then we've got other really good friends that. What's funny is I think she was high school friends with his youngest sister or younger sister. He's only got one sister. So she was high school friends with his sister. Um, and so she was in high school when he was in college. They didn't think he wasn't looking at her like that, even thinking about her like that. But later on, like after I think he had graduated, like they had both graduated college, they both joined an online dating website and then they linked and then they went on a date without even realizing like that they had known each other in the past.
Oh my
And
god.
then they were like, "Oh, hey, you're so and so's sister. Oh, yeah, or you're so and so's brother. Oh, yeah. Well, I was friends with her. Blah blah blah." So it's like they knew each other, but they were kind of just like
Right.
passing ships. And then eventually, through online dating, they came back to each other, and now they are married and they
That's
have two
really
beautiful
cool.
kids. It's just kind of funny how life works that way.
Yeah. Well, when you're not necessarily looking is when that stuff sort of happens.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone, all of the people I know who are desperately looking for relationships so they can feel complete or whatever, whatever nonsense the insecure are telling themselves. I say that as somebody who used to be insecure.
I think we've all been insecure. We all have the capacity to be insecure,
Yeah.
right?
But
It's just a
everyone I
matter
know
of
who's sort of made, gotten their relationship in that mindset, like they're
Mhm.
kind of miserable now, or it doesn't work out, and I don't know. Not to
You're talking
generalize.
from
From
uh,
even my own experience, like when I was desperate and I would find a relationship, it would always not end up being good. Like it
okay,
was
yeah.
dysfunctional, or it was unhappy, or you were settling, which is just as bad in some cases as being in a bad relationship.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, if not worse, because now, especially, I mean, it's the age-old story of people getting together because they feel like there's a social obligation to be
yeah.
together. Bringing a child into that scenario, thinking that, oh, well, yes, we can then focus our love on this, and
And
everything will
it's
be
fun
great,
because
and yeah.
as soon as Matt and I got serious, like people were like, "Oh, are you guys gonna adopt now?" It's like, no.
It
No.
is funny how people are eager to force others to kind of just speed run things, right? So when you're single, it's when are you gonna start dating somebody? When are you gonna find somebody? When are you gonna find somebody? Okay, cool. Now you're dating somebody. Now when you're dating someone, it's well, when are you gonna get married? When's the wedding date? Like when are we gonna hear wedding bells? Blah blah blah. And
Right.
then you do get married, and then it's well, when are you gonna have a kid now? When are you gonna do that?
Well,
It's like
and
stop,
I find
stop,
that,
just
and
leave
for
me
me,
alone.
that was a little extra insulting because it was from people
Mhm,
who know, like, I mean, I'm one by choice childless, but also like
mhm.
even if it wasn't like, yeah, adoption or foster care, but like I can't actually reproduce children.
Mhm.
That's not something I was, we don't all have that capability for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to go
Yeah.
into on the internet. But
Mhm.
there's no way physically that I could ever, in any capacity, make a baby. So it's very insulting that people who knew that, it's like random people like you. That's just
Oh,
what
okay.
random. But people
Okay.
who know
Yeah.
me, like their first question, "Oh, you're in a relation? Are you going to adopt and foster now?" It's like,
Yeah.
no, like we're just gonna get more cats.
Yeah. And
And
that
I
is
just, I
fine.
don't.
That's
That was what was
perfectly okay.
insulting to people who know like the
That
exact
is,
reasons why it's not
yeah.
a thing that could happen in any capacity. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just, but people not like, it's like if somebody wants to share that information, if
right.
somebody is going to, and I always felt like it's a weird question to just ask people, like, so what are you doing in the bedroom, or what
So
are you?
yeah,
It's like, stop, that's weird, just don't.
well, it's funny because like based
Yeah.
on sort of my situation, like I've had friends who are like, "Oh my god, we're pregnant." I'm like, "Well, are you gonna keep it?" Because I'm the opposite.
Are you returning that energy, like you said, of like they came at you sideways and you're just waiting, you keep
Yeah,
that in your
like
back pocket,
yeah,
and then
I would do
boom.
that to the same people who are like, when are you gonna do this? And I will. Like, so you're gonna keep it? And then they get horrified. And I'm like, well, that's as valid as questions you've asked me. Like,
Sometimes you gotta shock people out of their stupor. Sometimes
and
like,
then they get
huh?
really mad. Like, what a stupid question. I'm like, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I
That
mean,
is rough.
I have
Well,
asked friends before who didn't ask. I'm like, are you happy about that? Like, I don't just assume it's a miracle.
mhm,
Just
yeah,
because it's not. I have a friend who has reproductive issues as well, and she's been pregnant and it doesn't work. She's trying, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, but it doesn't mean that chances are always very low.
yeah.
And
It's
so far, it's
always,
not worked out. So it's like my first question anytime she's like, "Well, here's the deal." I'm like, "Well, are you happy? Was this a choice you made?" Like,
mhm, yeah.
because
And
it's hard every time.
people live fulfilled lives without ever adopting or
Yeah.
reproducing, and they can pour into whomever else. If you've got a friend who's got a kid, a niece, a nephew, whatever.
We've
Not
got
saying that you have to have that sort of interaction, because
right.
there are people that are full-grown adults that never really interact with children except for randomly passing them by in the streets, who live fully fulfilled lives that are just as happy. Um, and that's okay. It's just, it's to your
Yeah.
point of, it's what is this what that person wants for their life. So yeah. And then a funny story, when we found out my wife was pregnant. So we went to Dollar Tree and we stocked up on Dollar Tree pregnancy tests, because it was like, okay, I'm not going to blow 30, $50 on every single one of these tests. And so that's actually
Right.
something that somebody was telling us we were actively trying and hoping for our daughter. And so went to Dollar Tree, got a cheap one. Then I went to Target and went to go get one of the expensive ones that you feel like already making the appointment to get it confirmed with the doctor, but just another check, a test to double check. And at the checkout, when I had it, the person was like, good luck. I don't know, which
Right.
outcome you're hoping for. But I was like, I guess good luck is basically the best thing you can say for somebody. I mean, you can say
Well,
nothing, but if you are going
yeah.
to say something, you could say, well, I hope you get the results that you're looking for.
Hopefully, it works out the way you intended.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, I can respect it. You didn't have to say anything, but at least you were trying to be as neutral as possible.
But it looks like my camera just died, which we are at
Yeah, it
the
did.
2 hour
Yeah.
point, so we should wrap it up because I know
Okay.
you have the blurs to go get
Yes,
get
yeah,
ready
gotta get ready
for.
for Blurred Alert later tonight on GDL2 channel is where we're starting, but
And
for anybody that is listening now, youtube.com/@blurredalert, BLERDALERT. If you sub there, we got to get up to 50 subs before we can actually start live streaming. So go over and support, and then we'll be able to transition from GDL2 over to the actual Blurred Alert channel. So
Do you have get me a link really quick and I'll drop it in chat.
Yeah. Let me just type that up. Actually, I think I might be well, I don't know if it'll let me.
And then so we're gonna start on Geek Dad Life 2.
Yeah.
I've got that one. Okay, everyone. There's the link to Geek Dad Life 2, which is where it's gonna start.
Yeah, and then I just dropped it in the private chat so that you can put it in the main chat. There we go.
So we can get your subscriptions up. Oh, nice.
And
I'm
again,
subscribe right now.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm subscribing right now.
Thank you. Yep, and again, it's going to be me, Brandon Gash. Yeah, I haven't even subscribed to myself.
I'm the first subscriber.
Yay!
So Blurred Alert. So we can get Quip get them up to 50 because it's you and Brandon and
Sebastian Gomez.
So the three of you are the regular hosts, correct?
Correct. Yes. And then we're going to have people on, such as yourself. I'm sure I will reach out to you and we will have conversations, particularly if we're going to talk like strawberry shortcake.
Oh, yeah.
To your point about what you brought up with Orange Blossom. But or any topic, because you are well versed on a number of things.
I have a really fun about how I got my childhood Orange Blossom that I'll share. I haven't ever. I was gonna do a video on my channel, but then I was like, oh, I don't know. You know, and you have to. Again, like there's a whole magical Whoopi Goldberg situation when you tell certain stories. So it's probably better if I shared it and not as a video where I make a production of it.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a good story, but it's also like if it's not told. If I just did it as a standalone video with me doing a voiceover while I color Orange Blossom, it's gonna seem a little
Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's a good story. It highlights good people in the world, but it needs the right way to be told so that it doesn't.
Yes. Whoever left you Orange Blossom.
Nerd channel is the perfect place to tell that story because it shows nerdery. And then
exactly.
I did finish the page.
Ooh, looks good. Looks great. You always do a great job. I want to get more, learn more about the different techniques.
I'll have you back. Obviously I'll have you back. This was also a really fun conversation. Thank you to everyone who survived getting woke with Allison and Quip.
Yeah, conversation went a direction we did not plan, but hey, it's all we are proposing is that everyone out there just be a decent person, just be kind, take a beat, even if you have an inclination to be mean, as you shared sometimes, where it's like, you know what, maybe I should have a filter, think through things, and lead with kindness. But when someone is unkind to you, match energies. Do not be a doormat. Give what you get.
Do not say nice wolf sweatshirt unless she says something racist first. Then all bets are. It's like that lady on the internet, Suzanne Lambert, I think, who bullies people who are racist and homophobic. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, we're going to let you go. Thank you, Quip. And there are links in the chat for where we can find Quip later today. And there will be no Geek Dad Life tonight. Jay is taking off for family stuff. Perfect time to go. Exactly, Andrew.
Sometimes bullying is the answer.
Nothing is black. Nothing is black and white. Sometimes it's a gray matter.
Yeah. But tonight, 9 o'clock GDL2, where we'll set up the link. We will live stream and we will be talking about Stranger Things, specifically the Sinclairs and their characterizations. And then also, we're going to have a little bit of conversation about Stranger Things Part 5 too. But again, as somebody who has jumped the gun previously, my biggest lesson learned was with respect to waiting for the work to be complete
Right.
was Dark Knight when they made the announcement that Heath Ledger was going to be Joker. And I was like, Heath Ledger from 10 Things I Hate About You?
Right.
Really? From A Knight's Tale? That's a weird choice. And then come to find out, blew it out of the water. So you can like certain things about season 5, part 1, part 2, but the story isn't done just yet. So I say have clear and fair criticisms for what you hope or what you think could have been done better, but let's also curb our enthusiasm until we do get that final episode to fully unload.
Filter kicked in. Thank you, Filter. All right.
There you go. Filter. Bingo. Yeah.
Anyway, for the people who watch stuff here on this channel, we'll want to go and do the thing, watch Quip later on Blurds. Let's get the subs up. Also tomorrow, I'm dropping a video where I do the final page from my 1985 She-Ra Princess of Power Who's Who coloring book, which is the other reason this whole channel exists with coloring, was that stupid book. And I say it's stupid because it's been a long the night of the big debate on Geek Dad Live, I was filming one of the videos from this book. So like it's been a very long time coming. So it's over. So that drops tomorrow. So come check that out. I've got a bunch of shorts this week. And next week. Friday will be a Color and Chill Empire Strikes Back. Luke lands on Dagobah. And then on Saturday, for everyone who watched my Power of the Force 1995 Year 1 video, it's the file card pack-ins, the supplemental video with all of the paper ephemera from the first year of the toy line. So check all that out. And I don't know, I will be here next Sunday streaming solo. And so we can do like, what's up with the channel, y'all? Because I haven't done one in a while. So. And then Andrew from Gatey's Toys will be here later in the month, and I'm lining up a couple other guests for January, so it'll be good.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. That's exactly where I was going with that. I didn't steal your joke. See, I'm getting better about not centering myself, you guys.
There we go. Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, we're going to end today with this ever so important question from 1984. Take it away, Phoebe Cates.
I haven't made up my mind yet. Incidentally, which one of you bitches is my mother?